Good evening, everybody. Hello, I am Ankita Dubey, and today we are here to present everyone a webinar, a discussion on Canada Edu Talk. So, Canada as a study destination. All of you have thought about it that Canada, you want to go to Canada for studying, but why, where, how, and what are the possibilities, whether your profile suits to the education system or not, how you can apply, are so many questions for which you all have been searching answers to. So today we are here to acknowledge this quest and answer all your questions and give you a brief about Canada's education system. Now, we are going to talk in this webinar, Canada Edu Talk, about the universities and colleges, their eligibility criteria, entry requirements, education system as a overall wholesome in Canada, and the prospects, how you can apply, what is the admission process, and most importantly, about the PSW, which everyone is definitely concerned about, post-study work visa, and the important points that you should remember for your student visa in Canada. I have two experts here with me who will be taking over this show and talking to you about the details of the Canadian education system. Mr. Himanshu Wadhwani, who's Senior Education Consultant and expert for Canadian education. And another panelist and expert with me over here is Mr. Anshul Sahu, who is Student Relationship Manager for Canadian Education. So before starting this webinar, I would like you to watch a small video and then we'll start over. So as you saw the video about Canada education system, I have Mr. Anshul Sahu here who would start with the webinar, and I would give away the podium to him now.
Good evening, everyone. This side Anshul from iCounselor. I'm a student relationship manager, Canada. Very warm welcome to you all from the team iCounselor for to be present here in our webinar, Canada Edu Talk. So let's start with the webinar. So number one study destination, which is Canada. So we're gonna tell you why it is number one destination. So let's get started. So I just give you a small introduction towards the country that Canada is all about. So it is the second most largest country in the world after Russia. And the capital is Ottawa, which is located in Ontario region. The official language of Canada is English and French. The English is widely spoken language in Canada region, but French is like acceptable. The Quebec region, and the region in Quebec and like Ottawa, there is some part where the French can work and it is widely speaking as well. The highly developed country with an advanced economy. It is the 10th largest in the world. So Canada is more of a developed nation. So everything which is you're looking towards the developed country, you will be getting in Canada. So the Canadian currency, which is Canadian dollar, if you calculate the tuition fee or the traveling fee or any expenses, so you have to calculate in a Canadian dollar, which is respected to the amount which is like listed. So as per Canada immigration system, I talk about, it is the rate one of the highest in the world. So Canada is one of the peaceful, safe, and very orderly country. So if you talk about Canada, consistently, it is safest nation in the world. If you are looking as a student, so this is the place you can be in, and it is the most safest country you can go to. It has multi-ethnic country, so like immigrants from all over the world, like they are like in Canada specifically. So if you going towards Canada, so you will find the multicultures and all. You stop the mic. If you look towards multi-ethnic country, you will find Canada has the multicultural because people from all around the globe are present in Canada. So you will find that every region, every culture in Canada from all over the world. So it has a decreased crime rate. As you know, like Canada is a very loving and peaceful country. So crime rate of the country is very low. And the standard of living is very high in the world. It is the most educated country in the world with more than half of its population having college degree. So like every person out there with something or the other have a certificate or a diploma or a degree related from the courses from college or university, and that will help them to work towards their desired career, towards the desired goal. That's why the country is developing so in a pace. Canada has almost 5 million international students from all over the world. Like most of the people of the world and the students look forward Canada as the best place to study. And as the immigrants, they look forward to as a country as well. So let's talk about location and geography of Canada. So I already told you, like, so it's the second largest country in the world after Russia, and the Quebec, which is the like biggest region province of Canada, which is highly spoken is related to the language which is French, and the country is in the between two big oceans. The west side is Pacific Ocean, the east side is Atlantic Ocean. And there are 10 provinces and 3 territories, which is divided in Canada. The provinces are like Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Saskatchewan, and like 3 territories are like New West Territories, Nunavut, and Yukon. These are the places that your students totally look towards the education. Like university and colleges are situated in these provinces and territories, and you need to look towards which provinces you are choosing to go to study and all. And they all are equally important. Like they are more is like as per the region you are talking about, like the which is totally depend on the college and the city which you the institute is located. So students look forward to that. So now let's talk about cities of Canada. So like they are like the big cities of Canada, which is like well known in the world. So they are the big metropolitan cities like Toronto, which is well known in the world. So mostly students look towards Toronto as the education hub, or they look forward a place nearby Toronto for education purpose and for the employment purpose as well. And but there are other big cities as well. If you look towards the same, there's Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, Winnipeg, all are equally important. The big metropolitan cities, if you look towards education and as for the education as and again for the industrial purpose. So Canada, where you visit Canada, it is more of a green and like geographical based city, more of a natural beauties, which is you will look towards Canada. So Niagara Falls, which is the well known, it's the biggest fall in the world, which is situated in Ontario region of Canada. Then there is National Park, the Fen, which is the greenery is well known to the world. And then there is Rocky Mountains, which is located in Canada. It's very delightful and the most tourist attraction. And there's the topmost like Toronto CN Tower, which is like the most popular thing in Toronto, and it is like a tourist hotspot. And there is Old Quebec. You will find the culture and ethics of the like Canadians in the Old Quebec City. You will find the heritage of the country. Then there is Whistler, the snow mountains and like the hills and the tops which you can explore that can help you to get with to relief and all. You can find a peace out there. So it is a very good place to visit in Canada. So let's talk about very important thing, that is climate, the climate of Canada. To be true, there is a like just a cold, very long cold, in Canada, because the winters are very long for that, and the climate varies across the region. So every region has a different climatical setup. So there are some fall and like mild wind as well, like the mild chilling and in the fall and summer season. But there are like too hot, not too cold. There are short summers as well. You can occupy. So it is like suggestible, if you're traveling to Canada, you must take some jacket, light jacket or something so towards like traveling towards Canada, because it is almost chilly out there. So now let's get into the education system. I like to give the small focus on education system. So there are some public colleges and private institutions in Canada. Okay, so there are like they are mostly funded by the government. Like there are public colleges and university which is funded by the government, and the Canada government like spend more of on education. So that's why it is a more like a student hub for as compared to other countries. So education system is divided into three levels: primary, secondary, and post-secondary. So like, the thing is like most of the international students look towards the post-secondary education, which is after grade completing their grade secondary education, the grade 12, and after their bachelor's or the master's. So let's talk about post-secondary education. So post-education is like Canada has the highest rate of post-secondary education completion in the world, and the secondary education has grown significantly like high in the recent year due to increase in education demand in the industrial market. So there is a scope and there is a demand of skilled people in Canada which they're looking forward to it and work accordingly, and they want the people to work with them hand to hand and to grow the economy and to grow the company. There are like there are types of schools, secondary schools, and like public and private universities are there, the public and private colleges are there, and there are other institutions which the students look towards for the education. Concern about that. So schools which are recognized, they can grant you degree, diplomas, advanced diplomas, certificates, and other qualification as masters, PhDs, and all. So let's talk about universities. So the university is the post-secondary education institute which is authorized to grant degrees. So in Canada, universities are only authorized to provide you degrees. Not other institute can provide you degrees other than universities. So universities majorly provide bachelor's degree, master's degree program, and PhDs. So there are topmost universities in Canada, which is like well known, well top in the world as well. So everyone knows about the University of Toronto. It's the topmost university of Canada. Then there is McGill University, University of British Columbia, University of Alberta, University of Montreal, McMaster University, University of Waterloo, Western University, and there is University of Calgary, there is Queen University. Apart from these universities, there are a lot more universities which are well known in the world, and they provide the equal qualification, equal opportunity to the international students who are looking forward to the education in Canada, and their qualification and everything is like well known by the world as well. So let's talk about the colleges. Colleges are public secondary education institute which cannot grant you a degree, but they can provide you for undergrad diplomas, advanced diplomas, postgrad diplomas, and certificate courses. Like apart from universities, these programs are more career-oriented programs, and these are more of hands-on and practical-based programs. They provide the program on the basis of the student to get the job in the market, and this, if you go to the industries, they are like more of a skill based program they taught you. So if you're looking for the job oriented program, you should apply for the diploma programs as and they are much cheaper as compared to universities. If you're looking forward to international education as compared to university, the programs are more of a cheaper kind, and they will help you to get a like good education and a more job opportunity in the country. So now I will ask Himanshu, my colleague, to like go from here, and he will provide you the much more detailed information about the Canadian education system. So Himanshu, hang over to you.
Thank you, Anshul, for briefing us about Canada. I'll take it forward from here. So basically, Canada has two kind of institutes: universities and colleges. Universities are more on the research side, and colleges are more on the vocational side. Now, there are public colleges as well, and private universities as well, and public universities as well. So the basic difference between universities and colleges is that the universities offer a large range of bachelor's program and selected master's program. right? Colleges, they can offer advanced diploma, college diploma, graduate certificates, graduate diploma. Some colleges do offer bachelor's degree as well, but they are a rarity. So generally, if I talk about the bifurcation, the universities provide the bachelor's and the master's program. Colleges provide the graduate certificates and diplomas at college level, and there are very few bachelor's programs as well. Moving forward, the basic difference between a university and a college is that the universities are more research-based sites. So if you're planning to do a master's, say after 4 to 5 years of work experience, wherein you have zeroed down a stream, wherein you want to study more about that stream, then probably choosing the universities is a saner choice as compared to colleges. Colleges are more on the vocational side, which teach you job ready skills and make you basically employable in the market, in the Canadian market. Both the colleges and universities provide same postgraduate work permit. So any degree which is 2 years or more will provide you 3 years of stay back in Canada, right? But the major difference between universities and colleges is that the colleges will give you employment ready curriculum. They will give you the vocational skills. So as a lot of people going to Canada, they have this mindset that they want to go there, take up a job and take a PR. So for that mindset, colleges would be more useful as compared to universities. But again, it depends on profile to profile and your personal requirement. So these are the two options. Universities definitely are on the higher side when it comes to the budget. So the minimum fees for bachelors range from 25K to 40K. And in colleges, the range is for both graduate certificates and college diplomas. It's the 12K to 25K. The master's degree in universities are certainly more dearer. So the fees there is 25K. Minimum fee would be there for the masters, and maximum it can go to even 75K if you go to the higher ranked universities, right? There are scholarships available in Canada, but this comes with a disclaimer that the scholarships are very competitive in Canada, number one, and the amount of grant or scholarship that we get in Canada is very less because the student traffic in Canada is much higher because it is one of the most seeked after location in the world. So the number of applications are higher. So definitely the competition for scholarships are also higher, and even the scholarship amounts are not that higher as compared to Australia or Canada. But the fees is also lesser on the side if we compare to Canada or to Australia or any other country. So it kind of equals out. Anshul, can you help me with the next slide, please? So this slide basically talks about levels of degrees and diplomas with their respective duration. So a certificate program is generally 1 year. Then diplomas, as I said, at undergrad level, there are two diplomas. That is, one is college diploma, which is of 2 years. Then there is advanced college diploma, which is of 3 years, right? Bachelor's degree, you can get 3-year bachelor's degree as well, plus the 4-year bachelor's degree as well. Canada has limited 3-year degree because more or less the standard in Canada is that you have to have a 4-year bachelor's. That is 16 years of education Canada has. But some universities and colleges do offer 3-year bachelor's degree as well, and that is also accredited by their education body. Again, at postgraduate diploma or a graduate certificate, the minimum duration is 1 year, which is also an 8-month program. So generally the calculation for a year is 8 to 9 months because 3 months there is off period. And then there are 2-year postgraduate diplomas as well and 2-year master's program. So this is basically the levels of education, and out of which, depending on your budget and suitability, you can choose the level. Next slide, please. So this slide basically talks about in-demand courses in Canada. So more or less, if I talk about IT is something which is hot everywhere in the world. So definitely a lot of jobs in the IT sector in the Canadian market. Project management can go towards IT as well. Plus, a lot of people from the civil engineering background or people who are architects also pick up the project management. This is also one of the good sectors in Canada. Then practical elements of mechanical energy, information technology solutions, again, is a very good sector to get into. Then if we talk about the supply chain management sector, it is definitely one of the upcoming sectors in Canada, which has a lot of jobs Reason being, Canada doesn't have a lot of in-house produce. A uh, lot of things are exported, right? So you need a very good supply chain management sector, wherein this sector has a lot of jobs, right? Then you can also go towards advanced manufacturing management courses like international business management, global business management. Again, has very good jobs. As I said, a lot of architects and civil engineering background students go for even construction project management or community planning courses, because Canada, again, as told earlier by Anshul, it is geographically one of the biggest countries in the world, but still the population is not that much. And in terms of infrastructure, lot of development is still to be done in Canada, and they require qualified civil engineers or people from the architecture background, because they need to create infrastructure. Then only people will look at Canada and migrating there. And still a lot of provinces which are not that developed, the government are giving province nomination programs and things like pilot immigration pilot programs like EIPP and RNIPP are also there into existence. Then again, journalism and mass media is also having its own importance. Next slide, please. So this is one of the most spoken terms when it comes to students who want to join Canada institutes. They said, we want programs with co-op or co-op education. So co-op basically is a work term wherein one term you are doing on the job training, or you are doing working with a company in real time, and that is part of your curriculum. So basically that is what a co-op is. Then in co-op education, people then generally think that it is a guaranteed thing. It is not a guaranteed thing. If there are job interviews for the co-op, if you're getting through the interviews, then only you get this co-op. Otherwise, you'll have to complete a thesis on the basis of which you are selected. Sometimes the co-op can be paid, can be unpaid as well. So co-op is an integral part of the postgraduate programs and sometimes a master's program as well. Definitely it helps you get a employment. Chances of employment also increases because you are working on the job for some company, and if your work is good, chances are that they will acquire you for long term, right? But as I said, there is a disclaimer to this. A lot of people think that if the program has co-op, their job is guaranteed. That is not the thing. Co-op will have interviews. You'll have to clear the interview. If you clear the interview, then only you get a co-op, and it can be paid and unpaid as well. Next slide, please. So basically the English language requirements, if we talk about, so Canada generally requires 6 with no band less than 6 score to be eligible for an SDS visa. So basically Canada has 2 categories of visa, SDS and non-SDS. So SDS is student direct stream and non-SDS non-student direct stream. So to eligible for the SDS visa, you need to have a minimum score of 6 with no band less than 6, right? By this, I'm not saying that if your score is less than 6 in some band, you are not eligible for a Canadian visa. You are. There are some non-SDS institutes which will give you an admission at a 6 with some band less than 5, some band less than 6, or one band 5.5. You can apply for non-SDS visa, but the visa would be in the slower processing, because SDS is generally the faster processing visa, right? And non-SDS visa you can apply, but the if you want to apply for the SDS visa, which is the faster processing visa, you need to have a overall band of 6 with no band less than 6. And for a bachelor's degree, generally colleges require any band above 6. Some ask for 6.5 as well. It can go up to 7 for degrees into law or communication or journalism or teaching. They can even ask for 7 at bachelor's level as well. Definitely the MBA program for the master's program, 6.5 is the minimum requirement with no band less than 6. Some universities and colleges ask for even an MBA and other masters for a 7 as well. So basically, if you want to have a safe bet to Canada, the minimum score required is 6 with no band less than 6. If you are lower to that, there are chances, but you will fall into the non-SDS category. So if you want to fall in the SDS category, no matter whichever course you're applying to, try and aim a score of 6 overall with no band less than 6. Then I'll talk about the years of education eligible. So for an undergraduate diploma, minimum grade 12 is required, which makes you eligible for a college diploma of 2 years duration, or an advanced college diploma of 3 year duration, or a bachelor's degree. So for courses at undergraduate level, basically you require 12 years of education. For postgraduate diploma, you require minimum 15 years of education. And at some places, they also accept 14 years, somebody from undergraduate diploma. Here in India can apply for a postgraduate diploma. But for a master's program, 16 years education is mandatory, right? So if anybody who's a BCom graduate in India and wants to go for a master's program in Canada, there will be very limited options, because there are 5 to 6 institutes in Canada which allows an MBA program at 15 years of education, but they are a rarity. So because if you want to apply for a proper master's, and in general, if I talk about the market scenario, 16 years of education is something which is required to study in Canada at a master's level. And next slide, please. So if I talk about the expenditure, I think I just said this in the previous slide as well. So for the MBAs, 30 to 40,000 is the bracket. For postgraduate master's degree, 17 to 25,000 Canadian dollars is the bracket. And for an undergraduate program, 13,000 Canadian dollars to 20,000 Canadian dollars, which is somewhere around, say, less than 10 lakhs, or around about 11 lakh rupees is the maximum budget for the undergraduate college degrees, and 15 lakh rupees is the maximum budget for the postgraduate college level degrees. And definitely universities, 25K is the minimum fee, highest can go to 75K as well, depending on the ranking of the university. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier as well, scholarship opportunities, there are scholarship opportunities. There are some scholarships with the Indian government as well, which are some are on education based, some are on caste based. There are some education scholarships with the Canadian government as well. But as I said, because a lot of students applying to the Canadian market, these scholarships are highly competitive. And if you are average student, say about 65 to 70%, which mostly all the students are, you should not keep your expectations too high, because generally the scholarships are something, if you apply as early as possible, you have chances to follow the scholarship deadlines. And other thing is that you should not look at something around more than 5,000 to 6,000 Canadian dollars is the maximum scholarship amount for somebody who was near about the percentage which I spoke. So because a lot of students applying to Canada, competition is higher. The scholarships are not that high as compared to Australia or UK. But because it is cost effective if we compare to other countries, that hardly equals out. So scholarships, again, is discretion to the profile and the eligibility, and wherein I counselor and an experienced counselor like us will fall into place, and they can let you know what is the amount that you should expect on your profile, and accordingly you can budget for your studies. Next slide, please. So Canada definitely has part-time job opportunities. 20 hours as a student, you can work part-time, and during your off periods, which is the Christmas period or the college off period, you can even work 40 hours in a week, right? Canada is one country wherein your part-time job experience can also make you score points in the CRS, right? So for example, if you go on a 2-year master's degree or a 2-year graduate certificate, and you start your job from day one, right? So during the study period itself, you can have 1 year of work experience, because 20 hours is just half of 40 hours, right? So the calculation is just a half. So if you work 2 years part-time, it is equivalent to 1 year full-time work experience. So after your degree, and even say just after your degree, if you plan to apply, and if your IELTS score is good and you are scoring the required cutoff in the CRS with 1 year of Canadian work experience and 2 year of graduate certificate, you can be eligible for the PR just after your course itself. But again, it depends on what CRS you are on and what is the score required to be in the pool. So this is one big USP of Canada, wherein they don't have a bracket that they will not take part-time experience into consideration, which is there the case in Australia and some other countries. So part-time, no matter whatever work experience you have in Canada, you can score points on that. So as a student, if you plan ahead and you get in touch with an experienced counselor, he can let you know about these things, and you can look for a job as early as possible. But when I talk about these things, there is a disclaimer involved wherein I no way mean that you should focus on the part-time only. because your academics and your progression in academics is something which is of primary importance, and that should never be compromised. Yes, these things are add-ons and should be looked upon as only add-ons and nothing more, because your studies should be your priority. Next slide, please. So this map basically talks about the minimum wage in the various provinces, right? Again, this data is quite dynamic and it keeps on changing various times in the year, because the various provinces, they have their own developmental schemes, and vis-a-vis they change the per hour wage. So the data which presently shown on the screen, you can see provinces like Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. So these are the Atlantic provinces, which also have a pilot program of immigration by the name of AIPP. So the minimum wages in these provinces are less, and in the winters, these provinces even have very extreme climates. So if any study abroad consultant or somebody suggests you to go for a pilot program place, which will give you a faster PR, you need to keep in mind that the minimum wage might be less there, the job opportunities might be less there, and maybe which course you are going for might have jobs, might not have jobs in that province. So whenever you think that, okay, fine, I want to go to Canada for a PR, keeping in the pilot programs in mind, you need to keep in mind what program you're going for, whether it is matching your profile or not, what are the minimum wages there. And if you look at provinces like British Columbia, Ontario, they are definitely on the higher side, having minimum wage of 15.20 and 14.25. They definitely have more job opportunities, but again, the competition is stiffer there. So again, each candidate is different, and you should keep in mind that you take proper counseling before applying, because if you are aware about these things, it can literally change your fate in Canada, and you will not face the hurdles of getting a job or getting stuck in a province which was not your first choice, but just because of the cheaper fees and easier PR, you went there. So it's a dynamic process, and I would advise all the students and all the attendees to at least take one session of counseling and then take your decision to apply at any of the places. And we at I counselor can very well help you with these things. So please feel free to get in touch with us. Next slide, please. Postgraduate work permit, again, that's most discussed topic. So Canada has a policy wherein if you go on a degree which is 2 years or more, you get 3 years of post-study work visa. So generally people pick up either a master's degree of 2 years if it is at graduate level, or go on postgraduate diplomas which are of 2 years. So by 2 years, even if a program is of 16 months duration, it falls into the category of 2 years or more. So you are eligible of up to 3 years of post-study work visa. So in totality, you get 5 years in Canada, and which makes you a very strong candidate for applying for PR. Any student going on undergraduate level, so the minimum course duration at undergraduate level is a 2-year college diploma. So that's the first degree that you start with, right? No, generally nobody picks up a 1-year certificate. That's a rarity. So a 2-year college diploma will make you eligible for 3-year post-study work visa. Even a 3-year undergraduate advanced diploma will make you eligible for a 3-year post-study work visa. And even if you go for a 4-year bachelor's or a 3-year bachelor's, that will also give you a 3-year post-study work visa. So at undergraduate level, what we have seen is that a lot of people, a lot of students in the IT background, especially, they go on 2-year diplomas. So this allows them to study for 2 years and then avail the PSW in their third year, and then work for some companies, gain experience. And there are a lot of students of ours who have not even completed their bachelor's degrees, but now are PR in Canada, right? So we have a track record of such students, and that's why I said proper counseling before applying is very necessary. So keep that in mind before taking your decision to apply anywhere in the world. Next slide, please. Now, to be eligible for a postgraduate work permit, this is something which is very important to discuss. Now, Canada has a thing called Designated Learning Institute number, which is also known as a DLI number. Now, this institute is given more or less to every institute who applies for accreditation to the Canadian education body, right? And this is a unique number given to each and every university or college. Universities also have a DLI number, and the colleges also have a DLI number, right? Now, by just having a DLI number, it does not guarantee you that you will get postgraduate work permit. The Canadian government has a detailed list which is province-wise, and it is published on the official website of immigration, which is IRCC's website, www.canada.ca. Now, in that website, you can check whether the DLI approved institute is eligible for courses for postgraduate work permit. So this is again a very important thing, and wherein the need for an experienced counselor comes in, because there are a lot of institutes in Canada who work with study abroad consultants and they market programs. But after these programs, you are not allowed to stay in Canada. So you need to check this, whether your program and the college is eligible for a postgraduate work permit. Because if, God forbid, you go on a program which is not falling in the category of postgraduate work permit or is not eligible for the postgraduate work permit, you will not get the postgraduate work permit, and you'll have to come back to your home country without any job experience if you don't have an employer who is ready to sponsor you, right? The minimum, as I said, the minimum course duration for being eligible for a postgraduate work permit is an 8-month course. So generally 1 year graduate certificate falls into the category of 8-month program. So any program which is 8 months or more, you will be eligible for a postgraduate work permit. But if a program is a certificate program of 6 months duration, 4 months duration, please don't go for such programs, because it will not allow you to avail the postgraduate work permit. One important fact about postgraduate work permit is that you can avail the post-study work visa only once in a lifetime. So if you go on a 1-year program and you think that, okay, after 1 year, I will avail 1 year PSW and then apply for a master's and I'll get another 3 years of post-study work visa, that is not going to happen, because Canada has this policy which is saying that you can avail the PSW only once. So if you go on a 1-year program, probably try and get into another program before availing your PSW. So you get 1+1 and you can avail 3 years of post-study work visa. So these are all technical things which you need to keep in mind. And that's why I say you can avail a counseling session from an experienced counselor, and for which we are always available. And all our counselings are free of cost. So you can avail a free counseling and get your assessment done at iCounselor. So please keep that in mind before applying to Canada. Now coming to the student direct stream, the SDS visa, which I touched upon a few slides back. So SDS is a faster visa processing stream in which selected countries fall into. India is definitely one of them. China is also one of them. So depending on your profile, to be eligible in SDS, you need to have 4 things with you. Number 1, your college should be DLI approved. That's the prime most thing. Second, you should have your IELTS score 6 overall with no band less than 6. Third thing, the first year of your fees should be paid in advance to the college, and you should have a receipt for that. Fourth thing, you should have a GIC, which is an investment certificate, which is for your living expenses in Canada and which is deposited with a Canadian bank. So you need to put in your living expenses in GIC. So if you fall into these 4 categories, yeah, your IELTS score is overall 6, no band less than 6. You have a GIC of $10,000, your college is DLI approved, and you have paid your 1-year fee in advance, you are eligible for SDS visa, which means you get your visa in 4 weeks. And in the pandemic times, that has been increased to 6 to 7 weeks. But in normal times, SDS has faster processing, which generally gives you the visa into 2 to 3 weeks. Right? So these are the conditions which I touched upon. GIC, as I was talking upon, is a guaranteed investment certificate. So the major banks who give you the GIC certificate are ICICI Bank, CIBC Bank, SBI Bank Canada, and Scotia Bank. So basically, if I take the example of Scotia Bank will ask you to deposit $10,200 into a bank account which is virtual created sitting here in India, and you deposit an amount of $10,200, but your account gets credited for $10,000 only. So $200 is the account opening fees for Scotia Bank, and the $10,000 is the government calculation for your 1 year of living expenses. So GIC is locked, and you have a limit of per month therein, which is somewhere around $800. So basic calculation is 10,000 divided by 12. So per month you can withdraw 800 something dollars for your living expenses. If you're doing a part-time, you don't use your GIC, that can be used for next year. But for applying for a visa under SDS category, GIC is mandatory. So you need to plan accordingly. If you plan to have the expenses or an education loan, do budget your GIC and the first year fees in advance, because to fall in the SDS category, you will have to make these expenses in advance. That is before your visa approval. Right. Next slide, please. I will now ask Ankita to take it further from here and brief you about iCounselor and our services. Ankita, over to you.
Thank you, Himanshu. And thank you, Anshul. It was an amazing presentation. I'm sure all the participants who have joined this webinar must have really got enlightened with this information. And I'm sure many of your answers and queries must have been answered. So we can see there are some questions already in the chat box. We'll definitely come to that. Right now, I would like to talk a little bit about our education consulting firm, which is iCounselor. So at iCounselor, we take care of all the queries for abroad education, end-to-end process, profile assessment, answering your queries, course selection, universities, countries, suggestions, and everything. So iCounselor is basically a company which virtually takes care of all the counseling span India, across India, any query coming from anywhere from the country. And our parent company being VDIC Global Connect, we are into abroad education since more than 2 decades. So here we are to take care of entire abroad education process for you. Everything end to end. Maybe if we cannot reach you in person, then definitely because of pandemic, we have this live webinar sessions and of course counseling sessions virtually being organized for you. Now, I would like to bring this highlight to you about the services that we cater to. So profile assessment, as I spoke about earlier, assessing your profile. Once we receive your documents after the first counseling, we try to assess your profile. We evaluate via our CRM, and there is a team that handles your profile, will evaluate your profile and check what are the courses that you're eligible for and what are the universities where you can apply desired country or desired universities. We definitely look into your preferences and suggest you the best possible options. We do that via free virtual counseling as well, as everyone is aware about the pandemic era. So we try to do the counselings virtually to the best that we can do, so that no one gets this problem of coming live to our office or have to literally visit us and faces this problem. We have virtual sessions, virtual live Zoom meeting sessions with the candidates, and there we can have the meetings and answer all their queries and counsel them completely. We do definitely assist you for SOP, that statement of purpose and letter of recommendations. So many universities ask about this statement of purpose, where you have to write a statement to the universities that why you want to enroll for this course and why you they should actually consider your application for this course. So we guide you completely. We share samples with you regarding these. Even for letter of recommendations, what are the important things, we take care of that, and we give you tips and tricks to write these letters. We suggest you courses after your course evaluation and towards the country, towards your profile, which profile is suitable for which country and which universities. We also assist you in the entire application process till the admission process with the universities, up till the last process, that is the visa assistance, where preparing your entire documentation file for visa applications, filling up the forms, end-to-end process. Also assisting you for education loan and other services related to your finances and queries. And last but not the least, when it comes to flight bookings, health insurance and accommodation bookings, we even assist you and guide you the best possible options, or connect you with our old alumni students with whom you can connect further and get more knowledge and better assistance if you are looking out for a particular place in some country. So you can reach to us anytime on our website, which is www.icounselor.com, and our email address is connect@icounselor.com. And as of now, I'm opening up this chat box question and answer session. So if you have any queries, please write your questions in the chat box, and we would like to answer as much as we can in this webinar. And otherwise, we can also arrange virtual meetings with each one of you to answer your queries and counsel you. So I would read the questions to the experts. The first question is, can you explain about non-SDS category? Visas are granted by the same category and the documents requirement is the same as SDS category and any additional charge for the same.
You want me to take that?
Yes, please.
So basically, the document requirement is same only for SDS and non-SDS, right? Again, it's a very technical topic and depends on candidate to candidate, right? So basically, as I told earlier, that SDS requires 1 year prepayment, GIC, and your IELTS score should be 6 and above. So even if you don't pay 1 year fee in advance, you pay 1 semester fee, you do not do the GIC, but you show the funds in your bank account, those things are acceptable in SDS, right? But if you talk about the overall document list, it is quite dynamic. It changes from student to student because you have funds in FDs, you have funds in savings bank account, right? But generally, if I talk about 90 to 95% of the cases that we do, we ask them to file their visas in SDS. Like for example, if a student has having 6 band with 1 band less than 5.5, so we generally encourage them to give their IELTS again and then apply probably. But if somebody is in non-SDS category, because the non-SDS category, the visa comes in almost 2 months, right? So it's a big enough time and nobody wants to wait that long, right? So generally the non-SDS category visas are very less. But if the profile is there, get in touch with us. We can help you with that. We can even help to create a non-SDS file into SDS. That would be most preferable. But we can definitely give you the suggestions for which I will encourage you to please schedule an online counseling with us, and for which the website is mentioned, and please feel free to visit that. I can see one more question, Ankita, regarding the radiologist radiology technologist in Canada. So basically, any program related to the medical field, right? They have an exam, a licenseship exam, which you need to clear. If somebody is going at the bachelor's level, right, then there is an exam called MCAT that you need to clear, and then get into a bachelor's degree and then take your radiology specialization. But if somebody is already a doctor in India, then they probably have to take similar route to USMLE as there in US. So you need to clear their licenseship exam, then only you can pick up anything into core medical field. Else you'll have to go on programs like healthcare management or public health. These are the options for people from medical background. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Himanshu. And one of the attendees is thanking us for this informative session. So thank you so much. He's asking for the recording of the session. So definitely we'll provide you the recording of the session. This session is also live on YouTube. So we'll share the YouTube link as well with you. Another question is, which month is the best to apply for visa? So Anshul, would you like to answer this?
Yes, totally depend on the intake you are applying to. So let's take a process. So it will take some 3 to 4 months to get your visa application process. So the intake you are looking for is January, then you need to start the preparation from July itself, right? So because July, June, July, August, September, that's much time you need to take your documentation along with your visa application process, and everything needs to be done. So just take up some say 3 to 4 months of time or more than that, depending on the application the student is going through.
All right. Thank you. There are lots of questions coming in the Q&A section and the chat box as well. So we are trying to answer all of them. Like, is there still time for Spring 22 session? So there is still time, but at max, I think 1 to 2 months, you should be prepared for a IELTS with your IELTS score sheet, and then we can apply, because in Canada, there's a lot of rush of applications, and the colleges and the seats get closed really very fast. And we'll definitely get back to you regarding the more options that you're looking out for. Another question here is, which is the best province to go into for finance related course and fashion design? Himanshu, Anshul, Himanshu.
Okay. So see, if we talk about both these streams are quite different from each other. So definitely they can't be a single province as such, but anybody who's applying for a visa in Canada or for a program in Canada generally have two kinds of mindsets, right? So one is a mindset of a student who says that I want to go to a province which will give me an easier PR, right? So there the course is not important, the province is important, right? And there is one student who says that, okay, I have a profile in finance and I want to go for finance only because I am not interested in any other field, right? Then if I talk about then major for finance, the major provinces or the developed provinces like Ontario and British Columbia, they make more sense because they have more of banks, right? They have more of investment banking companies. But there are exceptions as well, because if you talk about Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia has an office of Deloitte, right? And I have students who are presently working in Deloitte and they were ex Deloitte and they went for a master's and now again are working for Deloitte in Nova Scotia, right? So again, you need to do your research, and it depends what background are you coming from, which company in India are you placed in, and what kind of networking you have. So as I said, an experienced counselor at day one will help you and can make your job much easier, because the kind of question that you posted, it's a dynamic process. I mean, it requires 3 to 4 meetings, because wherein I need to understand your profile, I need to understand your resume, I need to understand your background, and basis of that, there can be some other provinces. As I said, Nova Scotia can also be a good option. But if I talk in general for finance, people only look at basically a Toronto or a Vancouver, right? So if we sit with you, we have video counselings with you, and we understand your profile, we can probably tell you some offbeat provinces which are not in demand but can give you a very good career into your field. And fashion designing, as of now, as I said, Canada is not known for fashion designing. US, Italy, France are more the hubs for fashion. But yes, there are students that we have placed there, but the number of courses are very less. If I talk about Fanshawe College has some courses in fashion, and then Centennial might have some courses in fashion. So totally depend on what kind of program you pick up. At master's level, there are very less programs. Postgraduate diplomas are possible at fashion design, but it is not considered a market for that. So I would say that if you are more interested in the fashion field, go to US or France or Italy, which are considered to be hubs of that. But if you want to get a PR and still you want to get a degree into fashion, then there are limited options, not many options, and no province as such in Canada is famous for fashion.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So another lots of questions coming up again. One question is there in the chat box and Q&A session both, and that is, does the PG diploma courses guarantee jobs and average salary for IT? And also, how is Canada better in job prospects as compared to USA?
So like PG diplomas, they are meant to be like job oriented, right? So every PG diploma like plays an important role, the specific field you choose. So you look forward to the specific field in a career as well. So if you're looking for the job orientation and also you need to choose a specific subject as a PG diploma. So it will help you to get a job because they are more of a skill based and more of a practical based program. So they provide you jobs specifically. And talk about the average fee, said that's totally depend on the province and province. So every province have a different segment of fee structure. The company has a fee, just totally depend on your potential. So which big company you are aiming at and which company are like going forward to it. So every country has like a different segment in the salary thing and all. So it's totally upon to your potential. So if you're cracking up giving up the interview in the big company, you will get a good salary. And if you are doing good well, and the average salary will be approximately like around 35 to 36 or $37,000 a year. And like as compared to job opportunities, like yes, Canada has a big opportunity because like the population is low and they need a skilled people to work with them, and it's totally a developed country, so they required as immigrants, they look forward to the students who are skilled, and they need people to work with them and grow the economy as a whole. So as compared to USA, Canada has a better option for the job opportunities. Yeah.
All right. So another question that we have here is, what about paramedical course in radiology? I think you've answered something related to radiology earlier as well.
I said earlier as well that anything related to medical will either require a licensure exam or will require somebody going at the bachelor's level and doing their medical from there. Then only it is possible. Otherwise, you have to get entry into the country into some non-related program, which is not hardcore medical, and then side by side prepare for your licensure exam. And once that is clear, you can get into your field, whichever you want to get into. And coming back to the previous question, see that the placements outside India are not something as it is advertised in India. So your job depends on your networking. So no matter that you study in a university, you can be a student of University of Toronto or you can be a student of Georgetown College. The job opportunities for you would be same because you have to attend open job campuses and job fairs because the culture there is such that the companies will not come to the university or they will not look at the university tab. They will look at the knowledge you have and the networking you have. So as I said, if you are working with a big IT company here in India, and if it has got Canadian operations, that becomes a very good strong reference point for you. Similarly, you have friends working in other IT companies, that also becomes a very strong reference point for you. So your personal networking, your networking on LinkedIn, you being active on platforms like Indeed, you being active on the newspapers wherein the open job campuses are being happening, you becoming a part of it. All these parts provide you with the relevant information to get into a job. And end of the day, your knowledge is something which is penultimate, and it depends on your profile. So do your networking from day one. And as I said, again, these are all part of counseling, right? So get in touch with the correct counselor and you would be sorted before going to Canada. So these are all part of our services like pre-departure and post-departure. So our students who have already reached Canada get in touch with us on a lot of topics. So these are all part of our pre-departure services. So a good education abroad consultant or a counselor is the key to your success. So please keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay, so I have this question who's requesting that please reply me. Which course is the best to study in Canada after 12th class for a PCM student? In science, if he wants to go in science for a PCM student of 12th class.
See, again, it is something which will depend. If you are a PCM student, not from the biology stream, IT becomes an obvious choice because the world is going digital right now. We are on a digital platform, and the pandemic has taught the importance of the IT industry to everybody. Right? And in India also, the culture is slowly coming. People have started shopping on the internet. So basically, the future is that even the surgeries would be done by robots. There would be driverless cars. There would be pilotless aeroplanes, right? So all these things are the future, and IT is something which is always going to be in demand. So if you have interest in the IT sector, there are a lot of things. You can go into full stack development, you can go into web development, you can go into graphic design, you can go into something related to data analytics or data science. And if you want zero coding, you can pick up something like business analytics from your bachelor's as well. Now we have courses for that. So basically the science stream makes you open for all the things. And even if you, after a graduation, think that, okay, I'm good with numbers, but I don't want to go into the finance sector, so you can pick up something like accounting or finance. But a major trick is that you always pick up something which is technical in nature. So if you are a science and you are interested in the engineering related streams, IT is one thing, mechanical engineering is also good, electrical engineering is also good. These three sectors can be amalgamated with IT. That's why I'm focusing on mechanical engineering, electronic engineering, and IT. So all three of them work together. Like if I talk about a simple thing, blood pressure monitor or a blood sugar monitor, it requires an electrical engineer as well. It requires a person from the IT background as well. Plus, it requires a person from the biology background as well, right? So the world would be such that everything would be linked with IT, right? And electronics and mechanics. Like as I said, People are looking at electronic cars. So mechanical engineering again has a lot of things. As quoted earlier in the webinar as well, I said a lot of architects and people from the civil engineering background are required in Canada because it's a developing country. It is world's second largest country in the world. So in terms of infrastructure, a lot of things would be developed. So they require a lot of people from civil engineering background and the architecture background. So science basically is varied, and you can even go into medical research or bioinformatics. So totally depends on interest area, but definitely science will have anything technical in nature will have good jobs because technically qualified people are in huge shortage all across the globe, and that's why a lot of immigrants are from these backgrounds.
All right. So questions are floating in again and again. So let me check another one. One thing I would like to tell to all the attendees, we are trying to answer as much questions we can, but then the flow of questions is coming more and more. So we would request you that we'll share our contact details, our website, our email address, the phone number, direct phone number in which you can call and talk to our consultants. Along with that, we can also share a link in the chat box with you in which you can schedule a proper Zoom meeting with our consultants, and you can have a live session with our consultant for the entire counseling and all your questions. So let's take some more questions. This question comes in as, which course is best to study in Canada after graduation, Bachelor of Commerce, BCom, and which province would be beneficial? And one more student has asked this thing, that after 3 years of graduation, what is a best possible course option that I have in commerce? Himanshu, would you like to take that, or Anshul?
So BCom, basically you are from 15 years of graduation. Mostly it is a 3-year graduation in India, right? And so after BCom, as I said, if you want to go into hardcore technical fields, accounting and finance is one field. Accounting and finance definitely have very good jobs in Canada. Canada is also has a thing called CPA, right? So basically, a CPA is similar to a CA in India, but the process of becoming a CPA is more defined and easier as compared to becoming a CA in India. So CPA is something which is hot, and you can graduate towards the CPA after a postgraduate diploma into accounting or postgraduate certificate into accounting. You can pick up something like business analytics if you are interested in the IT field. You can pick up something into supply chain management if you are having relevant experience, right? That is one thing, because a lot of students directly applying for supply chain, they need to justify in their SOPs that why they are applying for a supply chain management. So supply chain management is a good sector for commerce students. IT में data analytics is something which is good. Accounting and finance definitely has good jobs. So anything which is technical in nature or is in demand, these are the 4 major things after BCom which you can pick up.
All right. Another question, are there high chances for PRs after completing 2 years of PG diploma and 3 years of working?
Yeah, definitely there are like the chances for you. So it's totally depend on your academic career. So right, how much you have scored. Like the first thing first, if you had failed your academics, the the possibility rate is 0. Okay, you need to first of all clear your program which you are going to study out there. You need to successfully complete that program and score good marks out there. All right. And secondly, your work experience. So like in a specific company you are working in, you need to show the like the economic growth, like how much you are providing to the economy of the country and how much you are doing the social work as well. Extracurricular activities also justify your PR points out there. So you need to be like fluent, like more of like going towards the country economy and towards the culture of the country, and look forward towards the catching up the pace with the country. So that's some of the points which defines the PR. So the possibility of getting PR after 2 years of your academics and 3 years of working is very good, and totally depend on your performance as well, how well you perform in the specific country you're going?
One major thing to add on to that is that definitely Canadian PR system is driven by CRS, which is the comprehensive ranking system. So the CRS is driven by a lot of things. It's basic questionnaire, which has things like your age, your degree, your work experience, your IELTS score. So in the CRS, there are very few variable factors which you can change, right? Your age you cannot change, your marital status probably you cannot change, right? So basically the variable factors are your IELTS score, right? Your Canadian degree, and your work experience. So 2 years of degree, right, will give you 3 years of post-study work visa. So in the CRS, if you have work experience in Canada of 3 years or more, you score maximum points. So that's why they say that if you go on a 2-year program and you avail a 3-year PSW, chances of getting a PR are much higher, but there's no guarantee to it because you never know in the next 3 years what the CRS cutoff will go, right? So more or less, if we talk about the rest, other things are all, say, bookish. The most practical thing is that you should have to track the CRS scores. Like you track the stock market, you have to track the CRS. What is the CRS in the recent quarter? And you need to score points higher than that. So right now the trend is that the score is somewhere around 460, right? Now if your score is above 460, you have chances of getting a PR. And CRS is something which you can calculate on your own on the official website of Canada, which is www.canada.ca. So more or less, most important thing is your CRS. And to increase your CRS points, 3-year Canadian work experience, 2-year Canadian diploma, or a master's in Canada will give you maximum points. You study French and you prove your French proficiency, it will increase your points. And that's why, as I always quote, we are study abroad consultants. Once you are in Canada, there are people who officially guide you for your PR. You are known as immigration solicitors or immigration advisors. So always listen from the experts and follow the experts. So there are certified people for it. They can very well know you, like if you are in 430 CRS, they can very well know you how you can increase your 30 points staying there in Canada, right? So always listen to the experts and please research the information. Like if I'm also telling you some information, you are free to research that on Google, but please in Google, look at the certified sources like the Canadian official website. I told you www.canada.ca. It has all the information. So follow that, not blogs like canadavisa.com or Quora or YouTube, in which there is a lot of misinformation is there. So please don't follow that.
All right. So if I talk about another question, if I take a there is this question. Does your organization provide assistance for PhD application, as in for proposal writing or SOP writing?
Ankita, I think you can take that answer.
Okay, all right. So I think for PhD applications, as I would like to tell you, no consultants can directly apply for these students for these PhD applications. The basic procedure is that as a candidate for any PhD course, you have to check which university in which country is actually going for the research in that particular topic in which you want to carry forward your PhD or research work. Once you check which universities are undergoing with those research works, you have to apply for along with your thesis proposal application to the professors of those research departments or those particular subject departments of those universities. You have to send your thesis proposal, updated resume, and application request to those professors. Once you get the approval letter from the HOD of that department that he or she is ready to undertake you for your research work, with that approval letter, as consultants, we can apply for you and carry forward your PhD application in the university. But initially, you have to apply with your thesis proposal to get that approval from the professor. I hope that answers the question. Another question over here is, I think, do we need work experience for PGDM marketing or PGDM strategic management course? Anshul, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, sure. Like for PG courses, you do not specifically require the work experience. So your bachelor's degree is well enough to get into the course, but it has to be. So there is some academic gap system work for colleges for the PG diploma. So it's has not should not exceed 5 years of academic gap to get into it. Okay, it's lesser than 5 years, so easy to get into the PG diploma without work experience.
Okay. All right. In the chat box, I have already shared the links with all the attendees for scheduling a virtual meeting with us. So this is our website, www.icounselor.com, on which you can actually schedule a meeting, and our counselors and consultants can have a virtual session and counseling with you and answer all your queries. Also, you can call us at 80350734338. Himanshu, particularly, there is a question for you from Mr. Sai Kiran Reddy, I guess. What if we don't get job within 3 years? Just asking if everything goes wrong.
Good question, right? So basically, what happens? You are allowed to stay in the country, right? There are a lot of jobs, and when I talk about the jobs which are coming, which I am coming to, with due respect, I'm talking about that no job is small or big, right? So the job can be at a filling station, right? Which is a very good paid job in Canada. You have to operate the petrol filling station. You, with their people fill their own petrol. There is not somebody who fills the petrol in your car. So there is a digital machine, and you need to give the access for that, right? Now this is something which is in high demand in Canada. So if you're not getting something, you can pick up jobs like this. There are doctors in Canada who are driving Ubers now because they have not cleared their licenseship exam. So there are a lot of survival jobs in Canada which have the minimum wage. So Canada has a minimum wage policy, so which is starting from $12 to $15. Various provinces have different figures. So you can pick up any job, and as I said, for applying for PR, there is no certain category that your job should be in the sector that you studied. Then only you are eligible for PR, and that's why a lot of people pick Canada as a destination, because it is considered as a safe destination. Because any job, even if you work on a McDonald's, even if you work in a Tim Hortons, even if you work at a Walmart, that job can also give you a PR, because you are contributing to the country's economy. Only thing is that you should not work on cash jobs. You can work on jobs which are giving salary into your bank account, for which you're paying the taxes. You're not evading the taxes. So if you follow the law, you can stay in country for 3 years. There are a lot of jobs in Canada. You can pick up in unorganized sectors as well, but do not work on cash. So I have not seen anybody, because there are a lot of people, all due respect to all religions, again I say that, people from north, from Punjab, a lot of students go who don't have IELTS also, which is not up to the SDS conditions, but still though they migrate to Canada, and they are now having their successful businesses in Canada. So entrepreneurship is something that is definitely you can pick up post becoming a PR. Definitely in post-study work visa, you cannot become an entrepreneur. So you should learn from the Sikh community or the Punjabi community, who just go there and follow the rules and probably become the entrepreneurs there. Or in the initial period, they do the survival jobs, and with that survival jobs, they apply for that PR. So for that matter, it is safer than Australia or UK, wherein they ask you to get a job in a related field. In Canada, you can work in any sector, and there is no shortage of jobs. Only thing is that you should be ready to pick up any job till the time you get something which is of your primary interest. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I think Mr. Sai Kiran Reddy has already thanked you for that, Himanshu. There is another question which I would like to answer. So are your services chargeable? So no, our services for consultation and counselings are not chargeable at all. And any sort of bank loan assistance that we provide, yes, definitely. As I mentioned earlier in the slide that talks about education loan assistance, about our services, we definitely provide education loan assistance. One of our domains of the organization, that's Quick Edu Loan, helps you with end-to-end processes for loan education loan services applying for it, there are certain documents that we would require to check and assess your file, and the bank, and we will connect you directly with the bank. We are associated with 4 top banks, SBI's, then ICICI, HDFC Credila, and Axis Bank. So we have these 3 to 4 banks with us on board, which can help you out with your education loan assistance, and any of the queries, we are here to answer for that. And I've already mentioned our website, www.icounselor.com. I have even placed the link for scheduling a meeting. You can directly click on this link, schedule a meeting with our consultants, and have a virtual live session with them. And our contact number, as you can already see on the slide, which is 80350734338. And you can also reach out to us with your queries on our email address, which is connect, CONNECT, at iCounselor, counselor with a K, IKOUNSELOR.com. I hope many of the queries are answered, and please note our contact details. And for further queries, please get back to us on these contact details. Thank you so much.
I think there is one last question. Sorry to
Please,
interrupt.
please go ahead.
Is it worth to invest 18 to 25 lakhs to do masters in Canada? I'll do it in India and much less investment.
Yes, please.
So this is an interesting question. So the thing is that you can definitely do your masters in India for 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs. Some institutes in Mumbai, Delhi can go to even 10 lakhs, right? But India has no minimum wage. Like it depends on you. You can get a package of 1 lakh per month as well, 5 lakhs per month as well. And there are MBAs in India who are working on 5,000 and 10,000 as well, right? So India, basically, with all due respect to our education system, we don't deal to Indian education system or Indian institutes. Only thing is that if you are thinking that you want to go to a country which is slightly more developed, which currency is stronger than India, you want to earn in dollars, you want to save money for your future, and then decide whether you want to stay in India or abroad. So what a PR does is it's give you kind of a dual citizenship, right? Wherein you get a PR, your passport is still Indian. So you can earn in dollars there for 5-10 years, save good amount of money, and then come back to India and enjoy your retired life. You can probably get retired in 10 years because Canadian dollars is 50 times the Indian rupees, right? So the both things are totally different, right? And I respect people from Indian education background as well, and who are studying abroad as well. Both have different mindset. Nobody is correct or wrong, right? It totally depends on the need. There are people who are not satisfied in India, who want a better life. Like for example, you become a PR in Canada, and even after 6 months, if you get an accident and your knee replacement surgery needs to be done, it's done on the cost of the government, because all your medical expenses and all your dependents' medical expenses are taken care by Canadian government, right? Now, if you have kids in Canada, the Canadian education system is such that the schooling of the children from grade 1 to grade 12, it is on public schools, which is almost free of cost, right? Which in India will never happen. So there are a lot of benefits of going abroad. So if you open up your mind, you can look at it. But if you still want to do it in India, our country is the best. Nobody will challenge that. We all love India. But the government in India is something which has its own challenges because of the population. Canada has lesser population, so they can have better public policy and better public infrastructure. And that's why, because of the quality of life, they have a thing called minimum wage, wherein if you work even 1 minute extra, you get paid for it. You have medical benefits, you have free education for your children. So these are the major benefits which are not in India. I think this would be a perfect answer to that question. And I will ask Ankita to please close the session from now on.
Thank you so much, Himanshu. I'm sure this question is being answered, that how this country benefits you if you join as a student and later on as a professional and you get your PR. And all the questions have been answered, not all, but I think maximum have been answered. And yet then I have mentioned our website for education loan, and our contact details, email address, everything. So thank you so much once again, a heart heartfelt thanks to all the attendees for this webinar. We are glad that you took out time this evening and was with us live from the starting till the end of the session. And for any time, any assistance, we are here with the contact details. Please let us know, and we would be happy to help you and assist you for your abroad education queries. Thank you so much once again, and stay safe, stay healthy. All the very best. Thank you.